What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. And look at the little banner at the bottom. Okay, good morning, Pranam Pepe, Ajit, Ashwati. Look at the banner at the bottom and tell me what that makes you feel. When you see this word mistake, what does it make you feel? And, it doesn't have to be a long answer, just your first immediate instinct. Hey, Shine. So if you're joining us right now, the question for today is look at this word in the banner, mistake, and tell me your first reaction. Hey Palak, tell me your first reaction when you see that word. What is it that maybe happens in your body, or what is it that you think? What is it that you remember? What's the general vibe of that? Okay, so Shine says upsetting, sad, guilty, okay, from the word mistake. Yeah. So I'm waiting for a couple more responses. Marcus says, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's a feeling of a need to apologize, okay. Ajit says, incomplete. Palak, butterflies in my tummy because of fear. Yeah, yeah. And anyone who's joining us a little bit later, when you see this word, where is it? Mistake. What is it that you feel? Lorraine, anxiety. Okay. Yeah, keep going. Feeling heavy, Nalini says. All right. Sad, Ashwati. Okay. Rewind. Oh my God, Sujata. Yes, rewind and replay over and over. Wow, I'm seeing so many responses from Facebook. I wonder who's on YouTube and replying from there as well. So, I want to, look at this whole notion of mistakes, right? And just in general, to give some context, I've been reading a lot, studying a lot lately, both about mental health and also about race matters, race studies, and feeling often sometimes paralyzed because I want to say something, I want to do something, and I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do. I'm not sure if I'm knowledgeable enough. I'm not sure whether I can consider myself an authority, whether I'll be shut down because of it. And so, there is this sense of paralysis because I'm afraid to make a mistake. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing or be seen as saying the wrong thing, right? So please keep sharing because it's helping us, I think, realize how much of the similar kind of emotion a lot of us carry with the word mistake. And so as I was thinking about this, I'm going to take the word away, okay? So we can just talk. When thinking about it, I thought, okay, well, how many times do I cringe at the word mistake? And how many times do I delight at the prospect of being able to make a mistake? How many times do I, and maybe we can all answer this, do you cringe more often or do you delight more often? And you can write one or the other, okay? Cringe versus delight, right? Another one, do you apologize immediately, sometimes profusely, versus acknowledge that you made a mistake without any shame? I'm definitely on the apologize side of the spectrum. Another situation, do you cover up your mistake or try to immediately make up for it? Or do you proclaim that you made a mistake, simply try again and shift course, right? Here's another one, interesting one, because till now we've been talking about mistakes and our personal reaction to them. I wonder, what about when somebody else makes a mistake? Do we judge them immediately? Or do we simply observe that they may have made a mistake? And as I started to write these two possible reactions to the same situation, I really started wondering, wow, we are hardwired to avoid mistakes at all costs, as opposed to being hardwired to enjoy them. And one thing that has really helped me in the last few weeks, or maybe even the last month, is that I've been realizing and reminding myself over and over again, anything I have learned, I can unlearn, right? So if we feel that we're hardwired to avoid mistakes at all costs, maybe we can rewire and relearn our response to mistakes and actually begin to enjoy them, delight in them, be excited about the prospect of making mistakes, acknowledge whenever we've made a mistake, and, accept that we have and proclaim it even. And from there, change our minds, change our course, change our action, try again. And almost most importantly, looking at other people, simply observing rather than judging them, because it is a cycle, right? You observe people and you judge them. So anytime you make a mistake, the assumption is that people are judging you. Now, of course, let's be clear, right? Mistakes come in all shapes and sizes, right? It's no doubt a multi-dimensional topic. And if your fear seems to have an excessive impairment on your daily functioning, that's a different level of your relationship with mistakes. And, I would definitely encourage that you see a mental health professional, because there are such things scientifically, studied, like phobias and certain conditions. For instance, OCD. I mean, a lot of us use this phrase very flippantly, but the real scientifically studied, extreme cases of OCD really do impair our ability to function in daily life. So if that is where you are with it, don't be ashamed. It's just something that can be treated, can be worked on, can be shared with a professional who can help you to deal with it and find some solutions. And for anything else, what is very cool is to start kind of pinpointing, well, where did this sort of obsession with avoiding mistakes come from, right? I think that from everything that I've been reading, and I'm going to write down a list of beautiful articles and books that I've come across, and please feel free to share what you've learned. There is a tension between knowing that mistakes can be learning opportunities and the reality that we are usually punished for them. We say that mistakes provide learning opportunities, but we do everything we can to protect children from them. And children see, absorb, and model. So Robert Brooks and Sam Goldstein are two prominent child development experts, and they say, as parents, while we do not want our children to face ongoing failure, we therefore attempt to overprotect them and rush in whenever we fear they might fail at a task. Now, this robs them of the important lesson that mistakes are experiences from which to learn, and it also communicates another subtle or perhaps not so subtle message to a child. We don't think you're strong enough to deal with obstacles and mistakes. I said miracles. See, that was a mistake. And I definitely felt a pang of, oops, you said miracles instead of mistakes. That's okay. So this message that we receive from others, maybe that we imbibe during our childhood because our parents learned from their parents who learned from their parents. It's no one's fault, but it's ingrained in our society. This message that we receive and therefore tell to ourselves and then share in our circle of friends, of workplaces, and also the media, it plays a role. There is a constant pressure to improve performance, which has an effect of triggering fear to actually underperform, similarly constant criticism. But actually, some of the fear of mistakes can be good, but excessive fear definitely causes problems. For instance, you might start avoiding any type of fear-provoking situations, meaning you may not have conversations with people. You may not go out and meet people or date or do presentations. You may be so afraid of making a blunder that you procrastinate for ages because you're overwhelmed. And this was me last week. I'm trying a new project and I just was like, oh, I don't know where to start. And I'm afraid that I'm going to do it wrong and then the whole project will be awkward. And that's so not true. By making many, many mistakes over time, I am going to actually be able to flesh out my ideas with my friends and make it something amazing. And even then, we're going to make mistakes. And that's how we're going to learn. So, how are some ways that we can stop obsessing over our own mistakes and or the prediction of the mistake that we might make, as well as obsessing about judging others and saving others versus also just trying to poke holes into everything so that no mistake happens? Well, I read a very interesting exercise, which is practice making small mistakes with mild consequences. I love that. I absolutely love this idea. Practice making small mistakes with mild consequences. And some of the ways that you could do that are, in a conversation with friends or family, maybe you can say the wrong word and just see how you feel. Notice if someone judges you or, points it out. And also, even if they do, kind of be very mindful, like, do I really need to feel bad about this or not? And really start to desensitize yourself. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to use it today because this is where my knowledge is today. So maybe desensitize yourself to that judgment, that immediate, I'm pointing out. And I do this, I think we all do this with our partners as well, right? And then the second thing is to actually think of a 4-step process. You identify the thought, which is usually a perfectionist thought, right? You identify the thought, you list alternative thoughts. You think about the pros and cons of your thought and your alternative thought, and then you pick a realistic and helpful way to view and proceed in the situation. So my favorite example was a person who feels embarrassed and anxious after making a joke that others didn't seem to find funny. I'm sure this has happened to everybody, right? We've all made a joke and the joke was just like, it just completely, didn't work. Now, initially, this person may think that others see him as awkward and boring and won't like him if he's not entertaining. That's his, primary thought, his first thought, right? People are going to find me boring. I'm not entertaining. I'm not funny. I'm not cool. His alternative thought is that actually, people won't judge me based on one measly uncomfortable situation, and they probably find me interesting anyway. So when evaluating these thoughts, this person realizes that his friends know him well. And even though they make bad jokes, this person still enjoys his friends' companies. People invite him to functions, they must find him entertaining. And in the end, his choice for a realistic and helpful perspective is that perhaps I need to give myself permission to make mistakes when I'm talking to other people. I don't judge other people as much when they say something awkward or unusual or not as funny. And I guess they're not judging me. So you know what? Let me go make those puns. Let me just make those mistakes. And of course, read the room, understand, are you making an off-color joke? Are you making a joke that is not landing with people because it's mean? Are you putting someone down? Is that why people are not laughing? There is a distinction there. But if it's not smart enough, you know what? It's okay. It's probably going to work. But how many times have we been in a situation? And I love the idea of a joke, right? Because it's seemingly a harmless thing. How many times have we had a joke in our minds and either disclaim, okay, this is not funny, but I'm going to say it, or haha, lame joke coming, or don't say it anyway. We do. We do. So it is ingrained in us, my dears. It is ingrained in us. And I think we have the power to stop the cycle. We have the power to completely disrupt the pattern. So, my goal for today, as we do our breathing this beautiful Friday, I hope it is going well for you, is to think of a few things. And I'm going to talk about them as we start our breathing. Right now, there are sirens behind me. New York, New York. All right. So let's take a moment to center and breathe. Maybe inhale for 4 and exhaling for 4. And the question I'd like for us to ask is, can we stop punishing ourselves when we make a mistake? And can we stop being punishers? The cycle ends when we stop buying into that notion that we've been fed or told or made to believe. Can we stop punishing ourselves? And can we stop being punishers of people who make mistakes? And one more time, just all together, breathing in and exhaling. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes of all time. John Steinbeck, who's an American novelist, said, "Now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good." And I take it a step further. Now that you don't have to be good, you can be free. All right, let me know what you think, darlings, and I will see you on Monday. Have a beautiful day, and do share this with your friends and family who you think are obsessing with, this avoidance of mistakes. And keep me posted. I would love to know what the best mistakes were that you made this weekend. Anytime you have some sort of mistake that you are actually able to celebrate, I want to know about it. And I think we all want to know about it. So thank you for being here in the Keeping It Light Circle. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. If you're on Facebook, also let me know if you can subscribe so that we can have more and more people staying in touch. And I will see you next week. Mwah! Bye, darlings. So much love. Ciao.